I think we should be drawn by love. Something beckons us. Something calls us out. That's why we call it, it's a calling. Means among all the confusion, it calling you out to be different. And that difference is mainly in your value system, in what you kind of embrace. And we have enough things given to us to embrace: love and forgiveness and kindness, letting go. All that's the thing that we are called to embrace. So this battle of putting off and putting on, like the Ephesians and Colossians and everywhere that is used. Unless you put off something, you can't take on something. There's not enough space for both in our heart. So we have to create space by letting go some of these, our own habits and our own values, and deep down it comes to trust. My question is, do I trust God enough to take care of me? And this hit me very, very strongly. Deepa, my second daughter, wanted to do medicine. She didn't want to do medicine, but what happened was she went to YWAM. After she finished her +2, she took 6 months off and went to Scotland and did Youth with a Mission. There they have this habit of, some people have prophetic gift. So somebody prophesied, saying that you are going to be a doctor, and that got stuck in her head. So she came back and said, Papa, she actually wanted to be a journalist. And I loved that idea. I always said she should become like Barka Dutt or something, go and, dangerous places and interview people and expose what is going on there. She came back and said, somebody prophesied and I would like to try it out, whether it's true or not. So she went to Chandigarh, did the coaching for 2 or 3 months. She was a bright girl, so and she went to CMC, and she was the first in the waiting list.
CMC
Ludhiana. Yeah, I took her there, and anyway, nobody dropped out. So she was very, very shattered. Not because she was happy, but she was also shattered about all this prophecy business is a big joke kind of thing, personal prophecy. And I was deeply happy inside she didn't go into medicine. So I didn't see much hope in the medical world, the way it is going. And I thought, if you really want to help, then do something that is different from medicine, like psychology. So I said, why don't you become a psychologist? You can really make some difference in some people's lives by talking and changing their lifestyle. But I wanted to hear from God. So I took the Jeep. I told Sheila, I want 10-day break. I want to figure it out, what is going on. So I drove to Leh. 10 days I was on the road. Every day I drove 10 hours. Leh to Sanskrit, Kargil to Sanskrit Valley, and drove back and came back. So in that 10 days of drive, 3 truths hit me while driving. That God is just. And second thing was, God is love. And God can be trusted. For my personal needs, I can never say God is not just in His dealings with people. And it has to come to me very strongly that, that character of God, I cannot some way bring it down. and say sometimes God is just, sometimes God is not just, because Bible is emphatic that He is just. So what Abraham said, challenged God, you are a just God. How can you allow? And then he says, well, if there are, show me 10 people, I will, change my mind, kind of thing. And God is love, because everything He does out of love. And which I have to accept it before I understand it. Whether somebody got cancer, somebody got disability, somebody got I'm talking about my own family, somebody doesn't have much, all that happens is out of love. And third thing, in this God who is just and love, I can trust. Because there's nothing, even if everything goes wrong, that truth will always remain. So I came back and wrote to my daughter Deepa and said, this is what I have experienced in my last 10 days. So don't worry. This God can be trusted, and He will take you wherever He wants. Just trust Him with that. And she immediately said thank you, and she pursued psychology. She became a clinical psychologist. She was one of the top 2 in Delhi University. And we didn't have to pay any money. She got a scholarship, so we had no money to send her anyway. So education almost was free. So after she finished clinical psychology, she was very bright. She almost became a kind of a volatile leader kind of thing in the Delhi University because of some unfair thing that went on in the college. So I was quite getting so excited. Hey, she's found her, place in the university to be vocal, to speak out for something that is not right. And then she said, Papa, I want to go to TIS, Bombay, and do another master in elementary education. Because I think the problem is the primary school, and I want to be able to create a curriculum for. And she was bright, so she went straight and she got in for TIS. And she did a master's in elementary education to be able to prepare syllabus for schools, for children. And then she fell in love and got married, and her hope is that she wants to start a teachers training, primary teachers training place, so that we can change the educational system. That is where her heart is. But personally, I had to battle with that failure. And it is that 10 days of getting away from the situation in the mountains, being with God in that atmosphere, that my own heart sensed the truth. So I have to let go of my fears and anxieties about her future, create space for His truth to find a space. As I see Mark Lowry, who says, most of the time interruptions is where God speaks. And he says, like Jesus, we have no idea. He says, Jesus was teaching them. We don't know what He taught. And this lady came and troubled Him. Then that is a story in the Bible. So all the interruptions become the actual story through which God speaks, not through your prepared, planned work. It's the interruptions that God steps in. And I think that is very true. Like we plan, to go somewhere, everything is ready, halfway through a flat tire or engine gone. That interruption is then becomes the focus where you rediscover God's ways. So I'm not kind of ashamed or not scared of making mistakes. Right? It's okay, you make 100 choices you make, and with the best of your abilities, you do it. Some, I think there is so much of freedom given to us, and I think God respects our freedom. I mean, I keep telling, some people are waiting for God's will, God's will. I say, there's nothing like God's will. It is given to us. I mean, if you are in the garden, there's only one prohibition: don't eat from this tree. You don't have to keep on asking, should I eat that, should I eat this, should I wear this or don't wear any clothes. I mean, that freedom is given to us. We don't have to spend a time, should I wear lipstick, should I
close the road or not?
Yeah, you don't have to. Same, so I think that God has given us so much freedom and respect our freedom. Within that freedom, if we make a mistake, I think somehow His grace is big enough to embrace it. I don't think so. So I think don't have huge plans for our lives.